And we are back for another episode, for another podcast for the Anime4All. We are reviewing My Hero Academia, episode 6 of season 6, I believe. Let me just count this because I'm not. Yeah, episode 6. The episode is titled Encountered, Part 2. See here, we can get for an overview. We're allowed. Here. Weird that there was an overview here. Wiki is fallen. Okay, basic overview is like we're now seeing all the heroes are now fighting Shigaraki. One of the I guess cliff notes here is first our devising this episode up. Shigaraki is now on Deku's trail. I don't know if Shigaraki realizes it is Deku, but I guess when he does catch up to him, he will realize it is him. That's gonna be interesting.
Sorry about that. Sorry about the background noise. So I'm sorry. What's going to be interesting? When he what?
If Shigaraki is now on Deku's trail, it'd be interesting when I don't think Shigaraki realizes it's Deku. He just knows that it's somebody he's got to go after because he's been programmed to chase after him. It'd be interesting to realize. It'd be interesting to see Shigaraki's reaction to it being him. He's met him once. More like stalked him once, but point still taken. I guess we can start.
He's always been a person of interest, though, hasn't he? Like, they targeted him when he was a student at one point.
No, Shigaraki really only targeted him because he was annoying. When I remember, I don't think he realized what Deku's powers was. I mean, I think he really only targeted Deku because Deku was just getting in his way. So I'm not sure how much of a person of interest he was. It's just that, no, they did send Muscular. No, that was All For One that did that.
Yeah, Muscular. They specifically.
No, that was All For One though. It wasn't Shigaraki.
No, Muscular went after him specifically and said, "You're the one of the ones they said we could kill, and to go after." And he was like really excited about targeting him.
No, he said. And, if I'm correct, he didn't say go after him. He just said he's one of the ones that he can't kill. But I don't think. I mean, All For One for sure was targeting Deku. But I know Shigaraki wasn't, because Muscular was under All For One's command at that time. Shigaraki wasn't really in command or whatever. When I remember, he didn't really start taking over until much later.
Man, I didn't say he was a person of interest to Shigaraki. I said he was a person of interest. Like he's been on their radar for a while.
No, I don't think. Do you like Chinese?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm listening to you talk about the episode.
I also see your name in the chat here saying I like Chinese.
Don't you like Chinese food?
No, I've never eaten. The smells is off-putting to me. Okay, back onto the episode. Dang it, derailing. About off your notes. Back to the episode. Right. So the very beginning of the episode, we have a recap of essentially Shigaraki telling Gigako Gigantomachia that he was about to tell him that he can attack him. He can like attack everybody, and then all of a sudden, All For One's voice invades his head.
And the original All For One, not like just an All For One, like the original user of All For One. Like the All For One is a quirk, but the original user of All For One, I don't know if I'd be able to recite the name, is the one that contacted.
I mean, I don't think he's ever been given a name. He's just been known as All For One.
They were all there and saw him for a moment, and he said that was only the second time he ever saw that user, which is interesting because that implies that he's seen them more times than we've seen on screen because he's like, that's only the second time I've seen that guy. So if it was
who are
all
you talking
the second
about?
time, excuse me.
I feel like what? Who are you talking about? I feel like we're talking about two different people.
When he has the vision, right?
Don't tell me sugar. I can't concentrate
You're
what's
talking about
happening in the
who? I'm
chat
sorry. You're
and then
talking
what's
about
happening here when you stop. No, I was almost Shigaraki. I don't think Shigaraki had a vision. He just heard All For One's voice in his head, or well, the guy who has All For One. I mean, at this point, All For One and that guy are the same thing. I know it's a power, but I'm just saying that he won't ever known him by the name All For One. They never given his name that we know of.
I mean, I'm sure we could wiki it, but yeah.
I don't know if it's a power, but they refer to him as like All Might from the episode 1 has always referred to him as All For One, and he's even referred to himself as All For One too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's done it a couple of times. He's referred to himself as All For One. I understand that it's a power, but we've never, I don't, as far as I'm aware, Shigaraki's called him Master. That's about it. He hasn't had any other names. I feel like his villain name was All For One. And I could probably look this up without you doing it, so that way you don't get spoiled. I know what to look for,
Yoichi,
so I know what not to look at. Where's
Yoichi Shigaraki is the first user of One for All.
Ooh.
Yoichi Shigaraki. Interesting that it's Shigaraki. I wonder if that's a spoiler. That's why I hate Googling anything.
No, I mean we know how Shigaraki got his name. He gave it to him. That was actually one of the things. Like it was in that episode where we learned about Tomura's like background. Well, only here, all I see is Shigaraki is his real name. They don't give him a first name.
Okay.
Now the other Shigaraki, the kid that they have right here, his name is Tomura.
The point that I made there than the specific name of this dude is that he pointed at this guy stood out to Deku as the one that he only seen one other time, and that seems to interfere the least with what's going on or get involved the least, which implies that seems one of these guys only twice means that he's seen the others more than twice, which means he's probably had multiple off-screen visitations by them, which I think is pretty interesting.
Are you saying Shigaraki's seen the other users of one of all?
Deku.
I was talking about Shigaraki.
Shigaraki sees all 7 of them in that moment, and he says that they must have all seen him, which is interesting to me.
I feel like I'm getting confused here with what you're saying, because I feel like I know that movie talking about feels like, but I thought he was referring to the search quirk when he was like looking for him.
Search quirk to find All For One, but when he goes to look for him, he sees 7 pinpoints of light, and it's pretty clear with references later in the episode that it's not just Deku and his friends that he's seeing. He's seeing the All Might, All For One quirk users. Like their residuals. He says it straight out later, and of course that's like the one time signature I didn't write here. But
I feel like that might
absolutely.
Okay, hold up, I'm just looking.
Absolutely Deku, because he uses the search to find the One For All, and then he finds 7 of them, and he says, they're residue, like the remaining essence or whatever, like he calls it. He absolutely does.
Back up.
Shigaraki uses the search on him at 9:22, so it'll be sometime shortly after that he mentions it. Crunchyroll's really got a bad user experience, and it's hard for me to. Hang on. I just made something appear on the screen that I can't get off. Okay, I got it off. It's amazing how Endeavor is just barely an annoyance to him.
I'm just like trying to watch it.
Mhm. Poor Funk Man.
Deku and Bakugo are running.
Okay, look. 12:04. He sees he's heading towards the light points again. He says the data left by the previous user.
He's talking about the search quirk.
I saw him right before the quirk was stolen.
He's talking about the search quirk.
The data left by this previous user.
Yeah, the search quirk. The when All for One took the search quirk, I'm pretty sure I forgot her name because we see her in episode 2, the girl with the green hair. She had actually, I think at the moment that he's using it too, they jump right back to her. She's
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she saw all the kids at the camp is basically I think what he's referring to. Cause I know that I know for one though one of them is definitely Deku, but I believe All for One is telling him to focus on One for All, and I think Shigaraki's just able to zero in on who has the power because of him having All for One, the original All for One quirk within him now. I believe there's a connection. There's a line now drawn between both quirks, and Deku and Shigaraki are now connected somehow. Because I feel like that's what's
Okay.
happening. Because like I know Deku was shining brighter than everybody else, though. Even with Bakugo next to him, he was still shining brighter.
Yeah, that makes sense then. That he's using the search quirk and he can see quirks, but he sees the brighter one right away.
I mean, that's what I believe. I'm just like looking right now because that's
No,
what I believed
you
it
make a really
was.
good point because he references stolen, and I don't think we know that that's like the one thing that can't happen that we so far that we understand with that quirk. So it's got to be a stolen quirk he's referencing. So you're
Well,
pretty.
I mean, All for One can I think take One for All. I believe that's one of the things that he's mentioned. I think he can take it because I mean it was a part of his quirk originally.
Whoever you've looked at, so now he can kind of eliminate. Yeah, I think you're right. From Ragdoll, 1, 2, 3,
Oh yeah, that
4,
was her
5.
name, Ragdoll. That was her hero name.
What?
That was her hero name, Ragdoll.
Correct.
I couldn't
I
think of
was
her name.
reading. I was reading the exact text from 853. And the reason, and it's extremely clear now that I'm looking at it that way. The heroes that Ragdoll had seen that were up for consideration were Froppy, Deku, Bakugo, Uraraka, um, Icy Hot, the Speed Guy, and the Animal Guy. Who were the ones that Ragdoll saw because they show a grid of all the Class A students, and then those 7 light up and move over there. So she probably saw all those students, and those are the 7 that are over there. And apparently he can't. He can tell the location weakness, but it looks like he hasn't figured out which one it is yet. It's just that he's seen them before and he knows their weakness. So he knows whatever Deku's weakness is. I'm not sure what Deku seems like he'd have a lot of weaknesses, not just one. I mean, Deku seems like he's pretty vulnerable just in general, despite his power.
Oh, thank you for the raid, Bar. I'm guessing 6 is gonna follow behind that. All right, we'll talk. We'll start talking again. I just need to figure. Just briefly scanning. Yeah, there was 6. Okay. Gonna real briefly scan through here. All right. Back to the beginning. I guess what we're talking about. I think we're beginning of the episode. Shigaraki calls in. Tries calling Gigachimaki. Gets interrupted by All for One's chant of "Find One for All." And apparently it gives him a headache every time it happens. I noticed.
And destroy everything seems to be on the list too.
But I mean, I think didn't he tell Gakumaki to destroy everything? Or I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, he does.
As for you, move on to that. It's kind of funny that we come back to Fat Gum running towards where all the chaos is happening. We have Mount Lady, smashing all the ice that the ice villain is making.
I think it's funny that like the role of Fat Gum in this series is pretty much to spend like 70% of his time running places.
Well, I guess he's the slowest one. I also want to bring up
like, you seen, how many times have you seen him like running down a hall or being a taxi? Like apparently being a Fat Gum taxi is like one of his powers because he's like, that's the only guy that's ever broken out of my Fat Gum taxi. And like he just I feel like 70% of his screen time is just him running somewhere.
Don't spoil you, Six. You don't really have to be here. This podcast is about talking about the episode. You're kind of like, I don't know why I'm talking to you right now. I'm supposed to be talking to Jock here, but still, the whole point of this is to talk about the episode title.
I think he said that as a joke.
I mean, that I don't know if that like hashtag is supposed to be part of a heart, but whatever. I'm pretty sure it was a joke, but I'm just saying like,
I think the hashtag is because he meant to type 3 and let his finger off the shift button too fast.
And maybe we sound like a jackass. Okay, back to the episode. I guess real quick before we, I guess, get further in the episode. It's kind of interesting that hero that Twice, as they are running through all the chaos and everything like that, the hero that was supposed to be dead,
he's dead.
Well, he's dead. But I was like wondering, wait, is Twice dead or is he alive? And then I forgot that it was Toka could copy abilities or use transform. So I was like, oh shoot, she's in there killing people now.
But it was like poetic justice to like, for her, from her perspective, I felt like to take the form of the guy that like Eel Boy who killed Twice and like use that to, like get back at the heroes.
I mean, that's true. I mean, it was just really, I didn't think Twice's death affected her that much, but I was wrong apparently.
Well, they're in love.
It was weird. She was very insane, actually, and nude, insane and nude.
And she's covered in mud.
Huh?
She's covered in mud. We can't prove that she was nude. She was nude, but we can't prove it.
You just completely contradicted yourself. We can't prove that she's nude. She was nude. We don't know if she was nude. Really, man?
I'm just calling it like it is, my guy.
Walk around in nature. But yeah, she took out a couple of people, and we pop back up to Dobby and Compress, and they're just like they're just out of it, like they're not even bothering. And then
he's like, "Oh, you're still here, dude? When are you leaving?" And he's like, "I don't know."
And then Gigachimaki pops out of the ground, and you just see Dobby smiling. Oh, he's awake. I was like, oh dear.
When is the last time they have a vacation? They don't give vacations. They don't. I had a vacation. Well, at least do maternity leave, right? No, they don't do that shit. No maternity leave. What the hell are we even doing? It's not even legal. What is this? Like Shigaraki? What is he like? Elon Musk now? Is he gonna just let everybody off, or just what's the deal here? Like, why are you even working for this guy? He's like, yeah, listen, I'm gonna fuck off, and they're like, all right, and then they take off.
I feel like he was on a rant about Elon Musk, and I literally just missed almost all of it to the end of that rant.
They were complaining about what a bad job this was, and then they just said, like, what is like Shigaraki Elon Musk now? He like takes over the whole place, and then like shortly afterwards, it goes to hell. You know about Twitter. You have to know about Twitter.
No, I'm aware of Twitter. I just didn't want to, involve
So basically, Shigaraki
the real world here.
He just took over the place, and the next thing you know, it's like gone to hell. The employees are being treated like crap. They're getting mass massacred. He's killed probably a good amount of them himself, wiped out the whole village. Like, it's a metaphor. Like, somehow they knew Elon Musk was going to happen in Twitter, and then they made an episode about it beforehand.
Okay.
This whole episode is about Twitter.
Just gonna do a donut around that entire thing.
Are you telling me that a bird hero, like, fighting, like, the bad guys is not a metaphor?
No, because this arc was already done in the manga, like way before. Like I don't like.
Maybe Elon Musk is stealing like My Hero Academia's idea.
I highly doubt he has the time or interest in reading fiction.
I didn't think he had the time and interest for a lot of stuff, but then he's took over Twitter, and if you've seen his tweets, he has a lot of time on his hands.
I haven't seen none of his tweets. I've been avoiding that guy. I don't like the guy. I don't follow him.
It's some of the pettiest crap you'll ever see in your life. Anyone that says anything bad about him gets like permanently kicked off Twitter right now. Extraordinarily petty. He's fired out half of the team. He fired half of the team in a day. He just shut down their entire Ireland like office division. He took My Hero Academia's villain concept and ran with it.
Are you done?
So 5 minutes and 30 seconds, Toga looks really cool. Did you notice that? Where her eyes have that weird shape? And she's almost alien or insect-like?
It looks very creepy.
I love how they emphasize how weird she is.
Okay, so a good portion, well, not a good portion, some part of this episode, we see Endeavor going after Shigaraki and doing his best to actually try to burn him. We actually learned that Shigaraki has super regeneration.
Extreme regeneration too. Like he can regenerate faster than Endeavor can burn him.
I made some comments about them trying to turn Shigaraki into a Nomu. When I saw that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" They turned him into a Nomu. But he's capable of extreme. Like he hasn't changed at all. It's just he's just there. He genetically bioengineered him to like just to be himself, but still kind of have all the super strength. I guess another thing too is apparently the jump that he ends up doing to chase after Deku, or the guy who has the quirk he's after. We find out apparently after Endeavor trying to burn him with Jet Burn, find out that Shigaraki is just superhumanly strong and he can just like move himself in midair.
That was his base power after being enhanced or augmented.
Which is ridiculous.
I'm gonna go with enhanced because it's not just augmented; he has brand new power.
I mean, this is just the strength he's gotten from fighting Gigachimaki, what I could tell, because he has other quirks in his arm. From the looks of it, there's a hole in his hand that allows him to send out abilities that's been stockpiled.
Well, I mean, when Eraserhead neutralizes his abilities, which we know seems to work pretty well on the Nomus, that like he was able to neutralize all of their abilities. They said when in that previous episode, they said you should do this. I'm sorry. They were marveling that like they're like this is their power without quirks. Like they were enhanced with quirks, but I don't think it stopped there. I think they're also physically enhanced.
I mean, so the doctor said he bioengineered, but he could only bioengineer Shigaraki so much about hurting his brain.
Right, they said that too, but that's different. That's where he said there's limits to how much you can enhance him without hurting his brain. But like we're talking quirks right there, and I
No, I
guess
mean
it
that
could
had
also.
something to do with just bioengineering, because bioengineering is different than what he was doing with the quirks. I don't think quirks are have anything to do with bioengineering a human.
Well, he's strong enough where he can swing his arms and like the shockwave like throws him around and he can essentially fly.
It is ridiculous how strong Shigaraki has gotten. It is. We
He's
need
broken.
we need an All Might, and that's we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, he's like a broken hero at this point.
Like we're gonna need somebody. I mean, I wonder if like based on this world, and we know there's other heroes everywhere else, it's possible that maybe they could call in a hero from another country. If the countries know what's going on here. I mean, this is essentially Japan.
Kind of weird. I never thought about that. Like this is all people in quote unquote one country, right?
Yeah, this is Japan. This is supposed to be Japan. It's possible that maybe there's another. There could have been another All Might in another area. I mean, we did have that scene which seemed out of place with that little girl. And I think it happened during All Might's last fight, where we just saw some really weird image of this little girl who looked like she was being inspired by him. We never knew what the heck it was, what that was about. It was like a random set of images that they were showing us.
Miss Marvel.
If that was Ms. Marvel.
Never mind. I forget that you don't know anything about the MCU.
I know who Ms. Marvel is. I watched the movie. I just not like I don't know much about her.
No, Miss Marvel wasn't a movie. It was a TV series. You're thinking Captain Marvel.
Oh, that TV show.
Yeah. You said a hero inspired by All Might, and I said Miss Marvel. Which
I
one
don't
was
know. Like, I mean, we don't know what her deal was. It was just, it was a very, it was a sequence of images with that little girl involved, or her being born, her finding out she had powers,
Okay.
uh, something going on else with her, and then like All Might. It was all happening during All Might's fight with All for One at the time, which was really weird. It seemed out of place to me. We didn't know where she was. I assumed she was in Japan, but maybe she's not.
I don't know because that's you're getting in some pretty deep headcanon at that point. It's hard to tell. Like, I mean, they've
Well, it
never.
just seemed
They're,
random to have a bunch of images of a little girl that had nothing to do with anything, though. What you think?
yeah,
We
but
didn't
that's like
see her.
I
Hmm?
feel like that's just one possible explanation, and I'm not sure if this series wants to break out of Japan or not.
But they've already talked about it at Japan. He talked about Europe. And last season actually, they've brought Europe into this. Who the heck knows? Maybe like I said, it just seems really random to me that they would talk. They would have not talk about her, but like they had this little girl who has no connection to anything, not one thing. It's like that I could pull. She was just it just showed this little girl who was looking at a TV screen of the fight happening. It just seems like I mean I guess they've shown civilians before, but they were focusing hardcore on her. Out of all the civilians I've ever seen, they were focusing really hardcore on her for no other reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see here. Yeah, Endeavor's having a hard time fighting.
He's not having a hard time fighting. Endeavor's having a hard time being anything more than a distraction. It seems to be very clear to me that if he was not hot on the trail of chasing Deku, and he had even like a couple minutes, that he might be able to one shot Endeavor. Like if he just ran straight at Endeavor with his hand out and tried to grab his face or something, I feel like he would eventually do it because he could just tank Endeavor's fire. He doesn't want to. Like he doesn't want to tank Endeavor's fire, but we know he's got the guts.
I, here's the thing, and this is just and this is just me going off of Endeavor's powers and what we've seen. Um, there was one time where Endeavor used the blue fire. Now it's probably really dangerous, considering, I guess like how much it takes out of him to even use Hellfire attacks and whatnot. So it's probably really dangerous for him to try to use hotter flames. But I bet if Endeavor really wanted to, he could probably like outpace the regeneration, at least right now. And I'd say he could keep it up, but like maybe he can outburn the regeneration. But then again,
I
they wouldn't
hate
have
to
had an
give,
episode. But I don't know. We haven't seen him use the blue
I
flame.
hate to give Endeavor any credit, but it seemed pretty clear to me that Endeavor's interest here is to incapacitate and not kill. And Endeavor doesn't still will need to learn what that means. Do you know what I mean? How much this guy can take before he can push it, and like it seems like Endeavor might not be willing to kill him. Yeah.
I don't think he's planning to. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, and I'm gonna ignore that you say you hate to give him credit, but
It puts him at a big disadvantage if he's not willing to kill him because he has to learn what he can take first because he's a regenerating villain. So it's not like a no-no where you're just like, well, they're dead when they started. You're just going to count them as already dead and we can kill them and they're monsters and not people anymore. But with him, he's a living person that's never died and has been augmented and enhanced and added onto. And if he doesn't want to kill, he doesn't really have the excuses he had with the Nomu that they were just mindless
well,
beasts.
I think at this point, like I think Shigaraki is impossible for me to ignore. I think Shigaraki was engineered to take flame attacks. Because I mean, although the Nomus are burnt to cinders, at least the higher ends, the ones that he fought, and I'm pretty sure they were used for genetic experiments. Because I kept on saying that eventually they're gonna have to make a Nomu that could actually take a flame attack from him because like they can't constantly keep sending these Nomus out there to attack Endeavor. So I'm pretty sure maybe those high ends that he was sent to fight were probably meant to. But the other problem is like I don't know. Like I mean, I've seen Endeavor unless that was the anime taking what's the word I'm looking for? The anime taking
Artistic merit? No.
yeah, I guess taking taking integrity or artistic integrity and making his
Artistic
fire
license.
there blue just because they could. I don't know. It's like I said before, I don't know. He's already stated that he can't fight for more than a certain amount of time anyway. Right now, him fighting Shigaraki, he's burning that candle, literally. He can only fight for so long before he starts like overheating. Who knows what blue flame attacks do if he can only do it for a certain amount of time? And we know blue fire exists because Dabi is able to give blue flame. But like I've only seen Endeavor do it one time, and it was like early on, like season 2. He hasn't done it since, so I don't know what the heck that was about. Like, it could have just been the animator saying, "We're gonna give him blue flame, herp the derp," and then they get a call saying, "Don't do that again." Like, oh, sorry, we were just having fun with it.
Musk will fire you, dude. You got to stop.
Like, I guess, I don't know, like if he can just like make a blue flame, maybe he can't. But like, I guess ultimately, right now, Shigaraki is, as I can tell, he was made to, to take on Endeavor. Even though it was a couple of times where apparently Endeavor got the jump on him and then Shigaraki was just sitting there like, oh snap. So I'm guessing maybe he isn't like, I guess he's still trying to learn how to fight in midair, which he's learning and outmaneuvering Endeavor.
He's definitely like, they've made it very clear that he's like kind of ultra instincting here, where like he's got this huge power, but he hasn't quite figured out how to fully use it. They've been saying as they fight him that his movements are getting smoother and he's getting stronger as they fight, not weaker, which is very Goku like from Ultra Instinct. And they've also already called him an ascended one. Now, I'm not saying that they're stealing from Dragon Ball or anything. I'm saying that they're both using a similar trope right now. They're getting stronger the more I fight them.
I mean, right now, like every hero is like being outmaneuvered by Shigaraki, and Shigaraki just working and woke up from a nap. It's again. I said this last podcast. This is scary. This is ultimately what I was afraid of. When talking about Shigaraki, the character, uh, they did a good. Was that? Oh, they must have used in the background. They did a good job with, I guess, showing Shigaraki's growth from being a kid in mind to being a full-on villain and getting his own identity. Um, All for One literally had planned all this from the very beginning. I'm pretty sure it didn't go all according to plan, but it's still like it's still playing out. Um, we're seeing that apparently Shigaraki can also like think of the quirks he wants to use at the very exact minute, and then have the hole in his hand just use the power. He even sent out a net, and actually, as Shigaraki is like closing in on Deku and Bakugo and Deku are both get the feeling of like what happened when they were near the fight with All Might and All for One and that over at Hosu. They get that impending doom feeling when they're around Shigaraki. That was an interesting comparison he decided to make between Tomura and Shigaraki All for One. It was interesting, and Deku and Baku are both like really willing to go at it until Gran Torino came in. Like, I don't know, I didn't know he could go that fast. Like, he came in there and snatched them both up and ran for it. He made a run for it. He did not stop moving.
Yeah,
It's interesting that he could do that.
What?
Gran
I'm sorry.
Torino, he was able to move that fast. It was as old as he is.
Well, speed is exactly what he does. But what I want to point out something extremely important there that you see earlier too. Like Goku obviously was almost killed by Gran Torino, but there's an important moment here too where Gran Torino could have been a little bit slower, because we see when Ryuku, the dragon hero, is touched full on by Shigaraki, they focus on his hands and all five fingers are touching him, and Shigaraki is able to throw him off before he gets a chance to use his quirk. So even if he had touched Goku, and I know Goku was seeing like his death flashing before his eyes instead of his life.
What anime we're talking? We're not talking about Dragon Ball Z, are we? You said Goku like 5 times.
I made a typo. I meant Deku.
You made a typo in your speech?
My notes, and I was running with it, not thinking about whether or not the name was right, because I was thinking so hard about what I was saying.
Yeah, I was letting you run with it because I was hoping you were going to correct yourself eventually, but you kept on doing it. I was like, I better save him before he keeps on saying. I didn't think that Shigaraki's quirk activated because he did touch the dragon hero, but I'm pretty sure he was still in the eyesight of Aizawa. I think Aizawa didn't say he was staring at him.
That's a good point.
Aizawa literally was staring at him, and I believe Shigaraki even makes a comment towards him saying, "You really are cool."
No. He touches the Ryuku at 1723. Eraserhead doesn't neutralize his quirk until 1745, I think, right?
No, but I think he was still like, because when we come back to Eraserhead, his eyes are glowing red. Water Hero's already giving him a Visine.
Fair point.
Visine,
okay.
and his glad.
So
Like, I honestly, I would believe it. I would believe you, but at the same time, it's like I feel like he was using his quirk to begin with.
Okay, so Gran Torino probably did save him, because at that point we think his quirk was still not neutralized, right?
I would believe that Shigaraki was out of the eyesight of Aizawa by that point. I would think. If not, Shigaraki was still dangerous because he still had other quirks. I don't know. I think I would say he could only neutralize one quirk at a time, I believe. And we know Shigaraki has more stockpiled within him. As I was probably just neutralizing decay versus everything else, because they were all concerned with decay versus everything else he could do.
I hear you. So Gran Torino is super fast, and he's also one of the few that understands the full details of decay. So Deku doesn't know this, and he would have surely, even if that shot hadn't come through, he surely would have been killed, just because he thought he knew Shigaraki's like abilities at that point, because he'd had that other first-hand experience with him where he held him and said, "Oh, all five of my fingers touch you."
Sorry.
What?
First hand. Sorry. Just.
Because he explains to him carefully what his ability is and the limits of it when he's holding him there and saying, one more finger touches you and you're going down and blah blah blah.
That's true. Deku doesn't know that his quirk
woke up. Realize that now it's like a chain lightning kind of thing, that it can go through objects. So one way or the other, he saves them in two different ways. One is he stops him from literally getting killed in that moment, and second, he gives him the information that's going to save his life at some point, not just then. And Gran Torino is like one of 8 heroes at that point that knew it. And the only thing keeping the heroes really holding a chance against Shigaraki at this point is their really strong teamwork and communication, which is not going to last.
Well, I mean, Shigaraki already kind of dismantled all that with the net. Whatever he did, he cast a net all over everybody. I guess another actually important moment before I get to that point is as Deku and Baku are running, trying to draw Shigaraki's attention away from the evacuation site. Deku ends up telling Endeavor in a secret line that he's after him. He says he's going to explain that to him later about why he knows this information. Endeavor is confused and he's like, I gotta protect Deku now. Deku's in danger. And now he's rushing after Shigaraki, who's already way ahead of him. But I want to actually focus on the conversation that Deku and Bakugo were having in the moment as they were running. It was one of the very few interactions we've seen these two have post the fight they had earlier on in season 4. I forgot when they had their fight in that training area, but this is their first interaction post all that. Well, actually I should take that back. They've been having interactions since then, but this is I guess they're first able to chat it out, being equals kind of. And we learn a little bit that for one, Bakugo still has he's still feeling guilty about what happened to All Might in that in the last fight that All Might was in. He's still feeling guilty about that. We also get a little bit of his thought process, and when he's training with Deku, that every time Deku gets stronger, he tries to hang on. So apparently, somewhere in his mind, he believes that he can still keep up with Deku, but probably not to the extent that he wants to. We also learned that apparently Deku at 30%. I know you don't have these numbers, but this is all the numbers we have.
Mm-hmm.
Deku at 30% of one for all. Bakugo was able to. At first, he was barely able to keep up with Deku at 30%. Now he can keep up with Deku at 30%. So apparently there was a change in Bakugo's strength, or his quirk, at some point during his training with Endeavor. He also was apparently able to tell that when Deku was using a really powerful move, he converts his 30% to 45% at the moment of the impact. That was intriguing. I don't know how he knew that information. I guess maybe Deku told him. I have no idea. So we can see that the relationship's gotten better, kind of. But we also see that the Bakugo still has, he's still having issues with coping with All for All Might, of All Might, retiring. He still sees himself as responsible for what happened, even though we know he knows about everything that happened. I thought they said they explained it all to him. So maybe even after all the information, he still feels responsible because All Might was only able to hold on for so long, I'm guessing, before his power worn out. So that's kind of interesting. And also, a funny little tidbit too is that Deku, after they've been running for maybe 5-10 minutes, Deku freaks out saying, "Why are you following me?" And I thought that was interesting too. It was Huh? Why is he following him? It like
And he tells them, and he's like, I don't get the expression on his face, but he's like huge, bug-eyed, like veins in his eyes, and he's like, "Arigato!" And like that was like the most awkward, weird like moment in the world. Like I don't know what the anime was trying to tell you about his facial expression, but he was a little bit weird.
I think what it was is that what I was able to gather was like Deku didn't understand why Bakugo was like Deku was running and he was only thinking about himself at that exact moment, but for the reason Bakugo decided to tag along, and Deku was very confused by this information because after he heard Bakugo's plan, he had then at that moment realized, wait, why is he following me? He like this, like I'm trying to get away from everybody else. Why is he the one tagging along?
It's just I can think of like 17 different interpretations of that expression.
I think it's just like, I guess, really weird friendship that those two have, friendship quote unquote.
But does Bakugo know that he's really there to protect his buddy and not just for revenge, or is he actually half believing the revenge? Like,
um,
eh,
I
is
think
he
I think there's
surprised
more.
or
I think there's more
confused by
going
this?
on.
Like, we'll talk about this later. Thank you. Like, we don't have time to discuss this in any more detail for the moment.
I think there's maybe more going on because like from what we
Because he
know,
walks back. First he's like, I'm the only one that knows about your situation, and you need me. He's like, thank you. And then he's like, honestly, it's just that I'm going to, like, get revenge. And this guy's a schmuck, and I need to take him down. You think you're the main character of this. No, 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 my friend. Step back, sit down, and watch, because Bakugo's Big Daddy is going to take over this whole thing now. This is my hero Bakugo now, and I'm gonna kick the crap out of this decay guy, and then I'm gonna like wave my hand and fix the entire city with the fire of life that's burning deep inside of me. He's like he doesn't know. I don't even know if Bakugo knows why he did it.
no, I'm pretty sure Bakugo. Like, I mean, you're making this seem like Bakugo isn't as deep of a character. I think there is there's probably is a in,
Second, first he says you need me, like I'm the only one that knows what's going on, and then he like immediately transitions over to like ranting about how much he's gonna kick this guy's ass.
well,
And
again,
he's
like, that
still
has a lot to do with the fact that he still feels responsible for what happened to All Might. I don't know what. I don't know. I thought we settled that business, but apparently
in
no.
that part. But the whole diatribe is to an audience of one, and he has like 6 different personalities coming.
I mean, I think this is just like Bakugo, but I think there's more to it. Again, like when we know about Bakugo, him following Deku doesn't really make a lot of sense unless we discount maybe there's more to their friendship than we think. Because one of the biggest anomalies I would say of this entire show is their friendship, because it doesn't really seem to exist. Deku makes you believe that like they were chummy buddy, but Bakugo's like, heck no, die in a fire. I don't want to be near you. But even with that, it's like, I mean, if you look at, if you analyze everything we know about him, a lot of things don't really make a lot of sense. Like if Bakugo really hated Deku as much as he claims that he does, you think he would make a bigger attempt to get away from him. I don't think as clingy as Deku seemed to be. I think at some point he would have gotten the picture that he doesn't like me, that type of thing. But like, what? Even in the first episode, when we see their first interaction ever in the entire series, Bakugo's a jerk. He's a bully. He thinks he's better than him and everything like that. But it's like, it's very weird that after that we transition to here, and the bully that was like, beating up on the little guy is very weirdly trying to protect him, and we don't know why. Other than maybe he wants a fair fight at the number one spot. Maybe he doesn't want Shigaraki to kill him. It's possible.
You think Bakugo would have protected him if he was in trouble, even back then?
Who knows? Like I said before, like there's a complicated mess between these two, and we only saw a little bit of that complicated mess when they had their little, talk to talk fight thing back earlier on, when, he was crying that he was messed up in his head, saying he didn't understand why, to him it looked like he's the one that killed All Might. He even says it here is that, as the guy who killed All Might, I had to make up for this. Like, he still, for reasons unknown, still blames himself for what happened in Hosu. Even though we're very far away from the incident now. Like, it seems like a lot of Bakugo's character now is like really being defined by what happened when he got kidnapped. I think it's really what all that, that multiple personality thing you're saying, him trying to get revenge is like he wants to, like he feels like if he's able to defeat Shigaraki, he can make up for the damage that was done in Hosu. But that's not really realistic. I don't know, I just like feel like maybe there's more to all this, because I mean, a guy who doesn't like somebody, you think if you don't like somebody, you try to get as far away from them as humanly possible, even if the person that you don't like is trying to impose themselves in your life. You try to do everything in your ability to get away from them.
You might be on more than you think right now, because Bakugo. Well, you might be on it more than you think right now, because Bakugo wasn't into Deku until he had the All Might power. So now there's this guy with 6 personalities, and he's met someone with 9 personalities, and maybe he feels like he's home.
Really? Really? That's where you take that.
It's so satisfying too.
That's where you take it. Okay, fine. But I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm digging in a plot of dirt, and I'm not finding any worms. But I'm just saying that like a lot of like their relationship doesn't make a lot of sense. It really doesn't. Deku sees Bakugo as a friend. Bakugo sees Deku as a deterrent. There's a lot going on here, and even with all the information that we now know of, it doesn't make sense why Bakugo is hanging around Deku. It really doesn't make sense. Like, he went out of his way to run with Deku when he could have just let Deku run off on his own. It almost seems like I had to protect him because no one else is going, type of thing, because I know what's going on here.
You don't think it's just a classic Japanese trope of rivals forming a bond when they wouldn't have gotten along originally?
It probably could be, but at the same time, it's like you don't see this kind of like, because like, I can only use Goku and Vegeta as an example because this is kind of where this trope was coming from. Like, it's not that Vegeta doesn't like Goku, it's just that some of the things that he does is annoying. It's not like we've seen them growing up as little Saiyans and like he was trying to get away from him, or he was being a bully to Goku. Vegeta didn't even know who Goku was until the first episode of the Saiyan saga. No, not correction.
Like he's Bardock or something.
What?
I didn't say anything.
Just something, I didn't quite get it.
I said it's not like he's Bardock.
Oh. But like, I don't know, I just feel like that is weird. I literally just had an overlay of Bardock just pop over Bakugo, and I hate you for it. Ah, dear. But that's what I'm saying. Like the relationship between Bakugo and Deku doesn't really make much sense, even on a rivalry spectrum, because like it's like it just goes far from like I want to be better than you. It's like I want you to die or something like that. A lot of the actions that Bakugo's taking kind of seem really weird to me. Bakugo makes you think that he hates Deku, but then everything else he does completely contradicts that.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like I don't know what's going on there. It's like the Deku makes an interesting point of why are you following me? Like, I'm actually trying to run away from you for the first time in your life. You think you'd be trying to build up Bar Mitzvah or something? I don't really love with Bar Mitzvah, but
Yeah, and now Bakugo's like, don't make me close one more door. I don't want to hold anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. Or must I imagine you there? Don't walk away from me. I have nothing if I don't have you.
And at the end of the episode, we have an interesting revelation that apparently the heroes didn't think was possible.
I disappoint you sometimes. I disappoint you sometimes.
No, I decided to just let you have your moment as and then try to move on.
Sitting here waiting, I'm like, when's he gonna interrupt me? He's not interrupting me. When's he gonna It was almost like that was your plan. Like, I'm just gonna let him do it. He's gonna regret it if I let him do it.
You just kind of mumbled up there for a minute. But I got most of what you said. Like, why is he interrupting me? I'm just constantly singing. I'm trying to get him to interrupt me.
And you were like, I'm just gonna let him do it. If he wants to do it, I'm gonna let him do it. He's gonna regret it, but I'm gonna let him do it.
But
I did. I regretted it very quickly.
then why do you do these things if you know you're gonna regret it at the end?
I wish I never did this halfway through saying. Please, Jeremy, make it stop.
We found out something really concerning. Is that apparently there are more no moves underneath all that rubble, and apparently they were not destroyed.
It looks like. I mean, it looks like all the new moves pretty much made it.
Yeah, I don't think any one of them was destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't even. I don't think they were even particularly close to the destruction zone at that point. But maybe I'm wrong about that.
On a scale of 1 to 1,000, how boned are we?
All. We're all the bone.
There were so many no moves, it was ridiculous. I guess another thing I want to talk about, especially powers. Endeavor's sidekick, the one with the flaming hair, was she always able to fly?
I don't know, it seems like pretty much everybody flies now. But I guess so.
It seems really weird.
To make her fly, but apparently she can fly. They fly now? They fly now!
I see in your notes you had like he's using the black lip well now. I don't know how well that is, but like I mean he was definitely using it to get around easier.
He seemed pretty chill with it. Like he seemed like it was not the big deal it once was, and I thought that was an interesting little detail because like originally he could barely use it for anything, and now he's basically Spider-Man.
He is not wrong. That's why initially I pictured him as like he was gonna be wandering around like Spider-Man. Now the one thing he couldn't do was stick to walls.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing Deku can't do, and maybe he'll get a quirk that allows him to stick to. I have no idea.
He's got like 6 quirks. He's got like 7 or 8 quirks to go right now. Like he'll get plenty of stuff going. I thought it was interesting. I didn't know Crust was the number 6 hero, the guy with the shield that died. They kind of just throw in there in this episode that he's the number 6 hero.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Okay, that's a nice catch, Con. I did not catch that.
Yeah, it makes it kind of significant, doesn't it?
Wait, so the dragon hero is number 10?
Yep. We have most of the major heroes like set up here. We had Hawks, which is number 2, and Endeavor, which is number 1. We have the number 6 died. We have the number 10 for the dragon hero. I don't know who the other heroes are, but there's a good chance we've got some of the other ones too, and I just don't remember.
Well, Mariko, the bunny girl, she's...
Oh yeah, she was like number 4 or something, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was on there somewhere. I forgot what number she was. I would look her up, but like I don't want to. Because like right now we don't know what happened to her because she's like right now on death's door, and I don't want to find out if she died or not.
Yeah, I really like that hero. I would be bummed too. She's good people, you know. She's just good people.
Yeah, she's got the hops.
Yeah, you know, she's hopping it up.
There's a lot of like actual cosplays of her. Actually specifically, Megan Thee Stallion has actually been cosplaying as her.
The hops don't stop. That's all I'm saying.
No, they don't. And apparently she's twerking on Twitter.
Yeah, like serious, you know.
But I guess that's all. The episode ends with the Nomus emerging, and it looks like the heroes have Actually, speaking of Nomus, I had this image of the Nomus popping up. There's a dog here. There's one that looks very humanoid. There's a Nomu that looks like it's just like a giant hand or something. I can't tell. It's like in between. Is that a 2155? There's a Nomu in there. I can't tell what the heck it is. It's like it's skeletal. Its spine can be seen. I don't know
See, I
what
didn't even look that closely at them because I was just like, oh, it's just a bunch of monsters. Let me
I mean,
take a
yeah,
look.
that's essentially what they are. Is a bunch of monsters, but it's just really weird. There's even like a one that looks like it can fly in the background.
They fly now? They fly now!
That Dragon Ball Abridged.
That was a Star Wars reference actually.
Hmm.
In the trailer for episode 6, 9, 8, I guess, there's a really stupid corny scene where like one of the clone troopers has a jetpack and he's
Oh yeah, I
coming
remember
out,
that.
and the guy goes, "They fly now," and then they go, "They fly now," and it's like one of the most made fun of scenes in all of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that you got like a Cthulhu like half dragon thing going on there. The heck, man, these Nomus are getting like they're getting less forms. Like they're getting like they're getting formless now. Is basically what I'm getting at here. Yeah, one looks like a dog, and that's about it. Everybody else has got like a humanoid form, or someone's got like tentacles out of their face.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the creator of the city is like, we're just gonna make all kinds of Nomu monsters now. We don't even care what they look like.
I mean,
And that's it. That ends the episode there.
seems some Cthulhuan like influence in some of these drawings, like especially the bat with the octopus head. There's definitely a little Cthulhu going, like forget the author's name. There's definitely some Cthulhian mythos going on here.
It's very disturbing. And episode ends with that image. Just kind of like, yep, we're boned. How boned are we? Extremely.
All the bones. So how are they going to divide up the battles in the next one? 'Cause the next episode is probably about Gigantomachina because it's called Disaster Walker, and that just sounds like Gigantomachina to me. But how are like in the big picture here, like more if we're looking past more than one episode, it looks like in the preview that, and from the way things are shaping up, that Endeavor, Eraserhead, Ryuko the Dragon Hero, Bakugo, Deku, and Shigaraki are taking on. I'm sorry, and Deku are taking on Shigaraki. And then it looks like the pro heroes are mostly ganged up against the weak villains still standing outside. And by weak, I mean some of them are still pretty significant hero. Some of the villains are pretty significant outside of the hospital still. I mean, for example, we've just got like Dobby chilling out there, you know? So, but the less main character villains are still up against the pro heroes. Pro heroes seem to have a definite advantage there, but they also seem like they're fairly tied up for a while. We have, my guess is based on the preview that classes A and B, Fat Gum, Kami Woods, Midnight, and are going to be taking on Gigantomachina, and it hardly seems like enough. But with all of that in consideration, like who takes on the Nomus? Because the Nomus, like, who's left? That's it. You've just taken the whole stick cast out. Unless the pro heroes have to take on the Nomus and everybody outside of there, but that's going to put them at a disadvantage too.
Well, how?
Don't you?
Let's take this in consideration then. Conversation about other countries getting involved. Now let's just say that okay, this is all happening. A lot of the heroes are used. Some of them are almost spent. Some of them are way beyond spent, but they're still hanging on. A lot of the more powerful heroes are, kind of like indisposed right now with Shigaraki. We all know this has to be like being broadcast somewhere because all the major events seem to be on TV. let's stop to saying maybe in this universe that Japan has an ally. That maybe because like I mean we saw that when the communication was taken down, it was a bunch of suits in a room, and we periodically go back to them for whatever reason just to see like it's what they're doing or what they're seeing. Um, they seem like the CIA type, like government official. Uh, and we don't know who's the president of Japan or like the prime minister or whoever it is. Um, Maybe they could call for help outside of the country. I mean, it's a stretch, but like maybe they could, because like I mean, there's a lot of no moves, and we don't know how many no moves are
You know
still.
something I don't? Is that why you keep bringing this up?
Huh?
Do you know something I don't? Is that why you keep bringing that up?
No, I mean, just some stuff I don't, but I don't know where to place it. So I'm not saying this is stuff I know. I just saying that like, um, I just saying because we know that there are other. I mean, before they never brought up Europe, I would have never even considered that there was like heroes elsewhere. I would have just been confined to like just one spot in the entire universe. But they brought up Europe, and they said the entire Earth has people with quirks in it, and Japan, as much as people want to believe, is not the entire universe, or not the entire planet. So it's a logical jump to think this to assume maybe there's other heroes everywhere else. Maybe they can get some help. Or I mean, if there's heroes, I mean, maybe there's still heroes they're not making use of. But like, I can't imagine there'd be that many heroes that could be useful here. At least I can't imagine there'd be that many more heroes useful here. I'm still kind of fixated on that little girl because we haven't seen. It's been a while since we've seen her, and it seems really weird that they would show her once and that's it. Like I'm very hung up on that one because like I don't understand the point of showing it. Like that's a very odd at a place animation to spend money on and never use again.
What is this character? Can you send me a picture of it? You just keep talking about it, and I don't remember.
Well, she has a name. She doesn't have a name. It's just like hold up. Let me just look up.
And that's for a name. I said situation.
Uh, I'm just gonna say I can't show you or give you any information about that little girl right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Um, see it. What I just saw is kind of spoilery. I didn't make her up. Do you want her name, or are you good?
I don't want anything now.
I looked up who's this little girl, and there's like a lot of questions about her, so I didn't make her up. People are wondering who the heck she is. Oh, never mind. That's Eerie right there. Oh, never mind. That's different. Never mind. Nope. Nope. I will drop the conversation of the little girl for right now. I guess with that, I guess we can end off here with the podcast next week. To my surprise, not to my co-host surprise, Dragon Prince actually dropped their entire season 4. Also, the season 4 for Dragon Prince seems to be 9 episodes, so I feel like we'll probably be able to get through it. We'll only be reviewing one episode like we've been doing for My Hero, but I suspect that we'll be done with that before My Hero is done. But next week we'll be reviewing 2 episodes, one from My Hero Academia and then one from Dragon Prince. We do this so that just in case My Hero does go on break, which we all know it will, we still have a podcast and we can talk about Dragon Prince at that point. But we're talking about episode 1 of season 4 of Dragon Prince and the next episode of My Hero Academia. So we will see you guys later. Have a nice week. Have a nice evening, and thank you for stopping by. Anything else weird to say? I didn't even get any of that.
Are we done?
No, we're still live.
Oh.
I didn't get any of what that happened. I guess we'll end it off there. See you guys next time.